Namaste everyone, this is Stephen from YogaWorks, and today we're going to be jumping into the journey to the splits pose. What is important about the splits pose? There's only one thing that's really important, is that your hips go all the way down to the mat. No, of course not. And I won't be able to show you that either because my hips don't go all the way down. And I'll even say more, that is just a detail. What it splits is really one leg is going forward and the other leg is going back. So physically we'll be working on that. There's a lot of hamstring flexibility, even the calves. And on the back leg there's a lot of quad and hip flexor flexibility that is required. And more importantly, what is required mentally is that we pay equal attention to what is in front of us and what is behind us. So that not all our attention is on, well, the thing in front of us or the biggest sensation, which is often the hamstring, but there's an equal attention to what is playing out behind us so that we get an equal and complete experience. And also you'll find if you do this practice regularly, you get a nice feeling of freedom, of movement, and an open sensation around the hip joints, especially if we tend to sit a lot. Then this is a good one to come back to regularly. Now, the first pose I'm just going to turn sideways is I'm just placing one foot next to the other knee and I'm walking my hands a little bit back. Sometimes this pose is called reclined hero pose, but I'm modifying it a little bit. Often we sit inside the heel like this. It's not a bad thing, but look at the angle between my lower leg and the upper leg, so we can do a little bit better to get more into the front of that leg. So go with your sit bone on top of the heel and now lengthen that knee forward. And at the same time you can lift up a little bit. Lift this hip point, this bony part, the front of the right hip, lift it up towards your right shoulder. So I'm really lengthening. I'm not trying to go far at all, but I'm trying to get the biggest stretch in the front of this right quad here. So lift up a little bit, tuck your tailbone under so it goes towards your heels, lengthen the knee down and really feel the front of that right hip and thigh get a really good stretch. Slowly release. Let's swap sides, left knee down, right foot next to the left knee. Again, I'm not sitting inside the heel, I'm staying a little bit on top of it to keep that alignment. And to get a maximum stretch, you're going to get a better stretch like this. So what I'm doing is I'm lifting the hips a bit. I'm lengthening the left knee down away from me. I'm pushing that shin, the left shin down into the mat to activate that quad slightly. And then the left hip point, I'm pulling it up towards the left shoulder, which is the same as lengthening the tailbone away towards the heels. It really helps to activate your core a little bit. If the belly is firm, you're going to feel a better stretch in the front of that quad. So experience this for another moment and then slowly come down. Now for this practice, you're going to need a strap, and if you have available 2 blocks, but we can also do without. I'll show you some different ways. Take your strap or a belt or a towel or a piece of clothing and unroll it, wrap it over the ball of the right foot and lift the right foot straight up. So what I like to do is hold the strap, one end in each hand, and align the distance so that my shoulders can relax down and I can just put in minimum effort to keep the leg lifted. So we've done a little bit of a warm-up for the quads, and now we're turning our attention to the hamstrings. And instead of just making this passive, can you push that heel up and push the ball of the foot up into the strap? So try to be really active, engage your quads on the right leg to straighten that leg all the way. Almost so much that if you were to let go of the strap, your leg would stay more or less in the same position. That's more or less how active we're going to be here. And then it's easy to focus on the big sensation, the obvious thing, which is the hamstring stretch on the right leg. But you've got two legs, so can you already start to split your attention to the left leg equally? So that left leg, imagine it's standing on the ground. Press your heel away from you and pull the toes up a little bit, really ground the back of that left leg down. Can you pay equal attention to the right leg and the left leg, which are doing very different things, and one has a lot of sensation and one doesn't really. So that's our practice for today. And then hold both ends of the strap in your right hand, open the right leg just for a moment. This brings a stretch more into the inner thigh, and then just make sure that left hip doesn't lift too high. Keep it a little bit heavy, and then lean the right leg away from it to the other side. Lift the right leg back up, and then let's swap sides. Wrap the strap around the ball of the left foot. Kick the left leg up, straighten the right leg out on the mat. Adjust your hands so they can just hold the strap, but without too much effort. And then what I'm doing is relaxing the shoulders. No need to put in tension where it's not useful. I'm kicking that left heel, the left foot up into the strap. And at the same time, I'm straightening the left leg by engaging the left quads. And the legs are really active, so much so that I can actually let go of the strap and keep the leg in the same position. And then, as we did on the other side, now turn your attention to the right leg. Often it goes limp when we don't pay attention to it. So now change that. Kick your right heel forward. Pull the right toes up. Ground the back of that right leg down. And then feel the splits pose right here. The angle of that left leg is actually not really important. You might be here, or you might be much closer to your face, which I can't really show you. All of this is a detail, but your attention is not a detail. This is really the essence of this practice. And then hold both ends of the strap in your left hand this time. Keep your right hip a little bit heavy. I like to hold it down a bit with my right hand, just to create that awareness. And then go just as far as you can without losing the structure of the pose and without your attention becoming scattered. And then slowly release that left leg back up. We're going to happy baby. So just lie back, align your ankles above your knees, and then if you can, hold the outside edges of your feet. Gently pull down, or if that's not available, hold your ankles, or even behind the knees, it's all good. And then lengthen your spine, even lightly press your sacrum and your lower back into the mat. And at the same time, kick your feet up into the hands a little bit. Slowly release, roll over your toes and come into downward facing dog. Take your time. Walk the legs out a few times. Make any other movements to settle in. And from here, bend the right knee quite a lot. And then use this to really press the left heel down. Can you lift the toes of the left foot off the mat? And then the left heel stretching down behind you. It's a really nice calf and Achilles stretch. It sounds like a detail in our splits pose, but all little bits will help. And if nothing else, it just feels really good. And then swap legs, so left knee bends a lot. The right heel stretches down, and I'm feeling a lot of stretch in the calf of the right leg. All the way down to the heel, all the way up to the knee, the back of the knee. And then slowly release. Now both legs at the same time. Can you lift the toes slightly? Can you press the heels down? And then with the pelvis, instead of rounding the back, start to arch your back a little bit, just for this practice. Usually we don't do down dog quite in the same way. But to get more of a hamstring stretch, I'm lifting the sit bones up, 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 up. So I'm stretching the hamstrings as long as they will go. And then have a look at your ankle joints. And then just imagine those joints are hinging a little bit more. So decrease the angle between your foot, both of your feet, and both of your shin bones. And then slowly move forward into plank. And bring your right knee behind your right wrist. Stretch the left leg back. And then just lift your right foot high enough so it becomes interesting. Not unbearable, but you definitely need a bit of sensation. The back of that right hip is the main thing with stretching. You want to stay on the fingertips and make it quite a nice active pose in the beginning of our session. Lift the chest. And with the right knee and the right shin, I'm pressing down. Back to downward facing dog. Shift forward to plank. Left knee behind left wrist. Right leg, stretch it back far behind you. And then I'm just lifting that left foot a bit higher to get to a good stretch in the left outer hip. Pressing down through the front leg. I'm actually also pressing down through the back leg, now that I think about it. And then you can come up on fingertips to lift the chest. So nice grounded sensation around the legs. And lots of space in the upper body to rise up from that base. Well done. Back to down dog. Off we go. Walk the legs out one more time. And we're going to get ready to flow for a little bit, just to warm up all our muscles around the hips and the whole body a little bit more with a couple of sun salutations. So walk to the front of your mat, bend your knees, and start to roll up to standing. No rush. Standing at the top of the mat, hands to heart. Here we go. Inhale, lift the arms, lift your gaze. And exhale, dive all the way forward. If it's available, straight legs, because we need to lengthen those hamstrings. If it's too much, bend the knees a little bit, you'll still get a good effect. Inhale, flat back. So I'm lifting quite high and I'm feeling the hamstrings both lengthen and engage when I do this. And then place fingertips down, step your right foot back, lower the knee. A couple of times move forward and back. Forward and back. Really simple, nice soothing movements. We want to let the body know that it is safe to move in this way. So don't go any further than that kind of safe, grounded feeling. From here, hands down to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. You can always use your knees. Inhale, upward facing dog. We're doing up dog today to get a bigger stretch in the hip flexors, the front of your hips. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhale the right leg high. Bend your right knee and open the hip. Exhale, step the right foot all the way forward, left knee down. One breath, lift the arms. Exhale, step forward lightly and fold, maybe it's straight legs if you can. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Continuing, inhale, pay attention to how your body feels. Exhale, fold forward, push the hip bones, the sit bones up to the ceiling. Inhale, flat back, lengthen the chest forward. Exhale, the left foot back this time, lower your knee. Couple of times, right leg straight-ish as you move back. It might straighten all the way and it may not. Don't worry about this. And as you come forward, you feel the front of your left hip lengthen. Nice soothing, calming movements to relax your nervous system. Step back to plank. Exhale, chaturanga, maybe with knees. Inhale, upward facing dog. Push the tops of your feet down, broaden the chest forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg reaches high. Bend the left knee, open your hip. Step the left foot forward, right knee down. One breath. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, forward fold, top of the mat. Lift the sit bones, fold over the legs. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, go all the way up. Exhale, slowly all the way down. Push down through the feet, especially the ball of the foot. From here, inhale, flat back, and this time lift the right leg into standing splits. We're not worried, as I said in the beginning, how high that leg goes, but how much attention can we pay to that top leg reaching up? It's against gravity, so that's going to be harder than on the mat later on. And how much attention goes down into the left foot, grounding like a pillar into the floor. Step the right foot back. This time keep your knee lifted and move forward and back. Like we've done before, but this time the back knee is off the mat. As you go back, you can also lift the left toes to get a little bit more into your left calf and Achilles. If it feels good, try that. One more, pull back, move forward, inhale plank. Exhale chaturanga, take your time. Inhale, upward facing dog. So much space in the front body, especially front of the hips, which we're going to need later. Exhale, down dog. Inhale the right leg high. This time, don't open the hip, but keep it level. And then look back at your right foot. Can you turn the right toes to face straight down, even if that means your leg doesn't lift so high as when you open the hip? That's okay. So you should feel more in the left hamstring now. Step the right foot forward, high lunge. Lift the arms, only one breath. Exhale, forward fold, straight legs if you can. Pull yourself forward and down by using the belly. Inhale, rise, go all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Stay with it one more round. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, use the belly, fold forward. If your knees bend, it's really not a big deal. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, the left leg rises into standing splits. So I'm using fingertips to balance. If this is hard, then just bend the front knee a little bit to get more space. We're splitting the legs apart. The right foot is pushing down. The more you push the right foot down, the more that left foot can lift up and back. Do something active with the left toes, the whole foot, the whole leg is shooting out. It doesn't matter which direction. I think my first yoga class, I was about 3 centimeters off the mat when the teacher said, lift your leg. I was like, what? So that's okay. Step back, keep fingertips down. We're moving the right hip back and forward, back and forward. A few times. And again, you can use the right toes to lift up, pull up to the shin to get a bit more lower leg stretch and the hamstring, of course. And then step back. plank pose. I'll show you with the knees. You can slowly lower down. Don't let go of the belly. Then tops of the feet touch down for upward facing dog. And exhale to downward dog. Next inhale, lift the left leg high. But again, don't turn the hip open. I know you can lift higher that way, but that's not the point here. Turn the left toes down. And then again, don't forget about your right leg. Can you still, instead of lifting the right heel as high as you can, lower it down towards the mat or maybe to the mat if you're having a flexible day. And then left knee comes forward, step your left foot between the hands, lift your arms, high lunge. Lower the hands, forward fold. Straight legs or bent knees. I'm showing straight legs today to get a bit more actively into the hamstrings. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a breath. Continuing, inhale. Rise. Exhale, all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, flat back. Exhale, just step to down dog this time. In down dog again, look at your ankles and see if you can hinge the ankle joint a little bit more so your toes come closer towards your shins. You can even try pull all the 10 toes off the mat and sink the heels down behind you. Again, turn the pelvis so the front goes down and the back goes up. So you're pulling the hamstrings longer. Step the right foot forward and come up into a high lunge. Nice. Place hands on the hips and then bend your back knee quite a bit. Nice. Now with the hands on the hips, lift the front of the hips up and turn the back of the hips down. So instead of doing this, we're doing this with the tailbone lengthens down towards the mat. The belly is nice and active here. Keep that. Start to push the left heel a bit back. Try not to lift the left hip higher and definitely don't lose the core work and the pelvis position. So I'm lengthening tailbone down. What I also like to do sometimes is one hand on the lower back and one on the belly and squeeze those two lightly together. And then maybe if you've got more space, you can bend the front knee a little bit more. Juice up the back leg a little bit more and lengthen the chest up without going into a spinal back bend. We want to keep the spine nice and solid. Well done. Lower the hands down. Turn the back heel down and step in a little bit closer. Well, first step in closer, then turn the back heel down. That makes more sense. Now bend the front knee a little bit. Push that front foot down from your right hip, push it down, and then pull that right hip back, almost like I'm trying to do this sliding motion, but I'm staying grounded on the mat. You should feel hamstring is pulling because you're bending that knee and you pull that right heel back. But it's also lengthening because you're leaning forward. This is a good place to use your blocks. If you find you're a little bit higher up, it's okay. One more breath. And step back, downward facing dog. If you want to keep moving, you can always do a vinyasa in between the sides. I'm just going to hold down dog. And step the left foot forward. Come up, high lunge. Hands to your hips, just to get that tactile awareness. Bend the back knee quite a bit. And then check the pelvis position. You might have started here. So what I'm doing is the fingers lift up, the hips, the thumbs go down. So back of the hips down, front of the hips up, belly strong, lower back long, tailbone down. I'm trying to keep as much of this as possible, and I'm starting to press that right heel back. This side is more of a challenge for me, even more of a challenge, I should say. So I'm squeezing that right hip back, keeping this core engagement, maybe again, hand on the lower back, hand on the belly. And then if I've got more space, I can bend the left knee a little bit more, but don't worry too much about that. And I'm trying to pull the feet together underneath me. Some serious hip flexor stretching work. Lower the hands, well done. Step a bit closer, turn the heel down for our pyramid pose. I'm on fingertips, but you can go on your blocks as well if you need to lift the floor up a bit. Bend the left knee slightly. Push that left heel through the mat and then pull it back towards your back foot. Pull, 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 and pull that left hip back. And you'll feel the result is that your belly also moves back and your spine can lengthen forward. Don't try to touch your forehead to your shin. It might look good on a social media post, but anatomically it's not the best way to move, so rather lengthen your chest forward. Just feel the difference in that left hamstring. Of course, if you're taking pictures, always choose your best side to do on. Don't ever do the other side on the Instagram. Right, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. You can go straight to down dog and rest for a moment. I want to keep moving. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Nice. Step your right foot forward. Turn the left heel down and come into warrior 2. So set it up as best as you can. Find a good bend in that front knee. And for a moment, look at the back foot. And then you could go, yes, definitely I can turn the edge of that back foot a little bit more down and ground that foot down with more focus and strength. And then look at the left hand. And yes, you could probably straighten the fingers a little bit more, stretch back a little bit more to the left arm, make it slightly longer, or even a millimeter, is fine. Now keep that awareness in the back of your body, in the left side. Turn your gaze forward, and now do the same. Can you push that right foot a little bit more down and bend the right knee slightly more? Yes. Can you stretch the right fingertips forward with a bit more energy and focus? Yes. Now have you let go of the left side? Can you hold each side equally in your awareness? That is splitting your attention, and that is more important than how high your hips are going to be off the mat. And straighten the front leg. From here, start to reach forward with your right arm until you stop. And place the right hand down. For me, feels good on the shin or sometimes on the mat. And then lift the left arm straight up from there. Find your triangle pose. Push the feet down, pull them underneath you. Lengthen the chest forward. And then really push that right foot down and pull it towards the left. Well done, hands come down. Keep moving with the vinyasa, or there's down dog, there's always child's pose, of course, if you need a break. Feel the space in the back of the legs after doing a little bit of this standing work. And then left foot forward. Warrior 2. Place the feet carefully first, and then when you feel ready, stretch the arms out. And then again, turn your attention towards your back hand, which is the right hand now. And then first, check the back foot. Can you push it down? Can you ground the outer edge of that foot into the mat? And can you stretch the right arm, right fingers a little bit longer? Amazing work in the backside. Now keep that. Turn your attention forward. Look over the front hand. Now push the left foot down and bend that left knee a little bit more. And then stretch the left arm, left fingers forward with a bit more energy and intention. Now check back with the backhand if it's still doing what you were hoping it to do, and be firmly planted in the middle. Attention equally divided between the front and the back, the left and the right, the top and the bottom. This is advanced yoga. Right here in this basic standing pose. Straighten the front leg. Trikonasana, here we go. Triangle, reach forward, forward, forward until you stop. Lower the left hand. Lift the right arm. You can always use a block under this left hand. I'm going to all the way down to get a bit more into the left hamstring. What I'm doing here is mainly focused on the feet and the legs. I'm pushing the feet down. I'm pulling them in towards each other. And then mainly that left foot, pull it underneath you to feel the left hamstring, maybe a little bit inner thigh. Get a nice length here. One more inhale, exhale to lower the hands. Keep moving or be still for a moment. Just make sure you make the right choices for your body and for this moment. No 2 days are the same, and definitely no two bodies are the same. So you have to really select carefully what you're going to do in your practice. Take a few breaths in down dog before we move on. And then step your right foot forward. Place the right foot a bit to the outer edge of the mat. And then turn the left heel down, left foot a bit to the left outer edge of the mat. And then turn the hips forward as best as they go. Turn the torso forward and lift your arms. We're in Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. Good bend in the front knee. This is really great front of hip work for that back leg. And then for a moment, release the arms. Bring hands to hips and straighten the front leg. So now just feel for a moment. Can you turn the hips all the way forward with straight legs? That should be possible now. And just imagine you're in the splits pose right now, but it's the highest splits pose in the world, the least sexy one that you can possibly imagine. Nothing much is going on. You're extremely high off the mat. But it still splits. One leg is forward, one is back. So take a moment here to feel that. And now keep your hands on the hips. Start to rebend the front knee. More, 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 until there is no more. Probably your hips are no longer facing straight forward. They've turned a little bit to the side. Necessarily, that's going to happen. And then lift the arms and experience split pose in Warrior 1, the deepest Warrior 1 that is available to you right now. 3, 2, 1. Lower the hands. Step back to plank. Exhale, slow Chaturanga. Inhale, slow upward facing. Exhale, slow downward facing dog. Unrushed. This is as much mental work as it is physical. And then step the left foot forward inside that left hand, so a bit to the left. Turn the right heel down, a bit to the right. You don't want to be on a tight rope with the legs behind each other. That's going to give you less space to move, you'll see. Lift up, place the hands on the hips, turn the hips forward as best as they go, lift your arms. Warrior 1, just to explore things, don't go as deep as possible, we'll get to that. And then place hands on the hips, straighten the front leg. Now you'll feel it's possible to turn the hips all the way forward, turn the torso forward. Nice. We're in the splits pose. Our one leg is back. Our one leg is forward. Don't take any Instagram pictures of this one and say you're doing the splits. You're not going to get any likes. But it's really good practice to prepare the mind and to start to feel the mechanics of what is happening in the body without the attachment of how high the hips are really. Now, keep that. Start to bend the front knee more, and more. You don't want to lift that back foot, you want to still ground it down. That's your anchor. The hips have probably needed to turn a little bit to get into that deep hip flexor stretch here, that's fine. And then lift the arms, bend the front knee a little bit more, straighten the back leg a little bit more, and experience Warrior One in preparation for our splits pose. Well done. Lower the hands. Keep moving or take a little break. It's up to you. There's no right answer for everybody. Downward facing dog. Take a breath or two. And then lift the right leg high. Again, like we've done before, turn the toes down, so don't open that right hip for now. And then open the right hip and see how much higher you can go, turning the foot out to the side. And then bend that right knee, lean into it a little bit, squeeze your heel to your buttocks. And then bring right knee outside right arm and step that right foot outside the right hand. Well done. Now here, just move side to side a few times. Really simple. Soothing, calming movements so that the hips feel like this is a safe place. I can let go of some of that gripping and tension. Lower the back knee down and then reach back with your right hand and see if you can hold that back foot. If not, you can use your strap. And for this one, hold the inside of your back foot. And then instead of opening to the side, which you do sometimes, turn the chest down to face the mat. And then all I'm going to do is bend the front elbow a little bit while I'm pulling that left heel to the buttocks. This is it. If it's available for some, you might be able to place the left elbow down. This is a detail, but it might help you to get a little deeper into the stretch. And then one more thing. Press the left knee down and pull it towards the front of your mat. This is quite intense. Nobody said flexibility work was easy. It might be at least as hard as strengthening work, just in a different way. And then slowly come back up onto the hand, release that back foot slowly, and then come into lizard for a moment. So I'm placing elbows down, but you may as well do that on the hands. If you've got a block nearby, it's really nice to bring the floor up a little bit this way. Couple of breaths to soften into this. This is a surrendering pose. No pushing and pulling is required. And slowly release. Start to straighten your right leg, and I'm going to slide the right heel a little bit forward just to align the left hip above the left knee here, and pull the right toes up towards your face. I'm pulling that right hip back, so I'm really getting to the belly of the hamstring here. You don't want to feel this under the sit bone or behind the knee. You want to feel it the most right in the middle of that muscle. Actually, it's three muscles which combine to form the hamstrings, what we call. And then if you want to add something, you can place left hand outside your right shin. Right hand can maybe go to right hip and push that right heel down. This allows you to get a little bit more into the outer hip and the outside one of the 3 hamstrings. And then slowly release. Now, with that right foot, go out at an angle, about a 45-degree angle. It's really nice to have a bit of a slippery floor. And don't try to go really far. We're just trying to see what's available. Just the first little check. Nothing too serious. This is not the final extreme range of motion pose. We're just angling that leg out, letting it go out. Again, you can come onto your elbows, and you'll probably find with that leg out at an angle, it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more space to move in that way. Don't forget the back leg. We're paying attention to the front and the back. And that's how we advance our practice. Slowly come out, down dog or plank chaturanga, up dog, downward dog. Just to reset and to be ready for what comes next. Lift the left leg high. Don't open the hips, so keep the toes turned down for now. And then open the left toes to the side, open the left hip. Still drop the right heel down. Now bend the left knee, squeeze the heel to the buttock. And swing the knee out with your left elbow. Place the left foot outside the hand. It could even be off your mat, it's fine. Then lower the right knee down. I'm swinging the left arm back, maybe with a strap. And I'm holding the inside of the left foot. And then instead of opening to the side, which is nice, nothing wrong with it, but for today, turn down so we get more quad length. I'm turning down. And I'm starting to lean a bit forward. Maybe the right elbow can bend. Maybe right elbow comes all the way down. Stay here for a few more moments. I'm pushing right knee down and I'm pulling it forward. And at the same time, I'm pulling the right heel towards the right hip. Nice. Slowly come up. Release the back foot. Both hands inside the left foot. I'm looking forward just to keep the spine long, bend the elbows a bit, stop whenever. Maybe elbows come down to the mat. It's all good. A moment in lizard. Notice where the intensity is. It's probably in the left hip. But that doesn't mean we have to ignore the back leg, the shoulders, the spine, the breath, the movements of our thoughts. All is part of the experience, including the one part that's screaming a little bit louder, but that's not the only part. And then slowly lift back up. Start to move the hips back, straighten the left leg for half Hanuman, half splits, this one is called. And then just to add something, right hand, I'm placing it over that left leg. You can also go on top, and then left hand to left hip to twist back. A moment to get into the outside of that left thigh, the outer hamstring as well, outer hip. Slowly release. Now hands come down. I'm going to choose the 45-degree angle to slide the left leg out. Any amount is fine. And then you can stay on the hands, or you can go onto elbows. It's okay. Here you are, lying next to your buddy, your left leg. Doesn't matter where it is exactly, we just experience this. With the angle, you probably find you have a bit more space because we're bypassing some common tight spots around the hips. Stay here for another moment. Pay attention to the whole body and not just the biggest intensity parts. And then slowly release. Come back up. Maybe one last vinyasa if you like, just to keep moving. Downward facing dog. So now we're ready to give our splits a try. Place your right foot forward. Bring the left knee down. And then here just move side to side. As soon as we go into, wow, this is it, I'm going to have to push and suffer and challenge myself really hard, then that has a negative effect on the nervous system, on the brain, sending signals to the body. So now we're sending a different signal, which is, it's fine. Now move the right hip back and slide your right heel a little bit forward. So we're back in the half splits pose we were in before. And if this is you, then let this be your splits practice for today. It's perfect. If you're like, okay, this is nice, but I can probably go a little bit further, especially after all the work, the warm-ups that we've done, then good. Also, you can slide that right heel a little bit forward and the left knee a little bit back. So here we are. We're already in splits, of course. One leg is forward, one is back, and we are splitting our attention between the front leg, the back leg, and a sense of calm and freedom that we are wanting to cultivate, which is more important than this distance here between the hips and the mat. And then if you're like, yes, I have a bit more space and I could safely go there, then right heel can shuffle a bit forward, left knee can shuffle a bit back. Try not to open the hip to the side, try to square the hips more or less forward. I don't like to say square, it sounds a little bit too intense for what we're doing, but you know what I mean. Try to keep the hips more or less level to the front of the mat. And if this knee bends a bit, and that foot relaxes, all of this is fine, that's like little details. But what I mainly want is to feel one leg going forward, one leg going back, and being quite solidly grounded in the middle. And then now you could go to your maximum. Actually, this side is quite tight for me, so this is more or less my maximum. I like to keep the back toes tucked under because it gives me a sense of strength. I can even let go, and the control and the strength is at least as important as the flexibility. You don't want to just flop down and then get stuck there. You can't move or control yourself. That will not be useful. So well done. Tap yourself on the back. You've done the splits pose, and you've got one more side to go on. I like to shuffle out like a geriatric, just to not force anything, just sit back for a moment. Just sit back for a moment. Take a breath or two. Erase whatever came before, it's fine. Whatever's going to happen, it's also fine. We're not attached to little details like that. Step the left foot forward. Move side to side just to wiggle and let your body know this is a safe space. There is no need to grip and tighten up. You're doing this with strength, with control, after the correct preparation, and also the correct mindset, which is not how low can I go, but how much attention can I focus on the front and the back leg? How much freedom and stability can I create in a very demanding yoga pose, obviously, like the splits? Good. When you're ready, straighten the left leg, slide the left heel a little bit forward. So we're starting in the half splits, which is perfect. This is actually, I do this one way more than the fuller version. But if you like, I feel ready to go slightly further. Left heel can go a bit forward, right knee can go a little bit back, and again shift side to side. Just feel what's happening. The one leg is behind you, the one is in front, and your mind is firmly focused in the middle, which is the present moment. You could see this as the future, and you could see that as the past, and the only moment you've got really control over is now. And then move that right knee a little bit back. Now go to, well, your maximum expression, whatever that is. Maybe you've already reached it. Left heel slide a little bit more forward, and then I'm squeezing the legs towards each other and squeezing the inner thighs towards the midline, and you might find you can lift up and feel that kind of pulling together and the splitting apart all at the same time. Slowly start to wiggle out. Try not to make any very sudden movements. It's quite an extreme range of motion pose, as you can imagine. So we want to take things easy and rest in child's pose for a moment. I like to open the knees a bit wider so my upper body has space to fold over the legs. The belly has space to rise and fall between the legs. So in Sanskrit, the name for the splits pose is Hanuman Asana, the pose of the monkey god Hanuman. And Hanuman was a good friend of the king Rama, who was married to the princess Sita. And Sita one day was kidnapped by an evil monster called Ravana. And Ravana's land was in Lanka, which is the island of Sri Lanka today. Rama was a king in India. So Rama called on his friend Hanuman to take a great leap of selfless service across the ocean, so to jump from India to Sri Lanka to save his beloved Sita, which Hanuman did. He flew and leaped through the skies, defeated the demon, and safely delivered Sita back to Rama. Sometimes it's nice to know the stories, just have a bit of context, or also remember that this was an act of selfless service. As soon as your ego gets involved, how low can I get? Can I do a better splits than somebody else? How many likes will I get on my page for that pose? Then it defeats the whole point. Slowly start to roll back up. Lie down on your back. And then bend both knees. Place the feet quite wide, maybe on the edges of the mat, and then lower the knees to the right. Nice and simple. And if you like, the right ankle can rest on the left outer knee, but that's also not necessary. You can just leave that. Let the legs relax down. Let the shoulders relax down. Just a nice, sweet counter pose to all of that. The big range of motion stretches we've done. And then how quickly can you rest down completely, let go of whatever happens, any outcomes of your practice. And remember, the outcome is way more than that one pose that we happened to focus on today. The benefits run deeper than that into mental levels, emotional levels, energetic levels, and even, if you allow it, spiritual levels. Release the knees back up. Keep the feet where they are, lower the knees to the left. Maybe the left ankle rests on the outer right knee. Nothing much you have to do here, just soften and feel your body at the end of your practice. We've done a ton of really big stretches, and now we can let the body rest and soften. And then slowly lift the knees back up. Let the legs slide out towards the corners of your mat. Open the palms of the hands to the sky. Shuffle around so your upper back, your shoulders, your hips feel really stable and safe. And then rest down on the Mother Earth underneath you. Give your body these few moments of exquisite rest and stillness. And then, even more importantly, allow your mind to become still as well. And then slowly start to deepen your breath. Become aware again of your body resting here and in the space you find yourself in. Move your hands and move your feet. And bend both knees, roll over onto one side. And slowly push yourself back up to sitting. Bring your hands together in front of the heart. Touch your hands to your forehead, to your heart center. And bow to yourself on the mat. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste everyone, for taking this great leap of faith, for expanding what your body and mind are capable of. This is really important work, and I'll see you again soon. Let me know which other poses you would like to learn more about. Namaste.